Greetings. Uh, this video is going to cover the executive branch of work. It's really going to focus on the bureaucracy. The rest of the unit, I think we're going to just read. I think this is the most complicated part. That's why this is the part I'm helping you on. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this set up. I think if you have your notes here and the slideshow here, and then you do the split screen, that'll work out pretty nicely. That's good. Okay, so what you see pictured here is the DMV. Whenever I think of bureaucracy, that's what I think of DMV and how much hate waiting in lines. I mind waiting in line a little bit less at Disneyland because, Space Mountain's at the end of that line. But at the DMV, sometimes one line just leads to another line. Okay, the big questions that are going to get covered here. What is bureaucracy and its features? What is the general organization of the executive bureaucracy? The three broad groups, and how did the civil service develop in the US? Okay, what is a bureaucracy? It's a large, complex administrative structure that handles the everyday business of an organization. All right, let's start writing that down. All right. So it's a big entity created by the government to handle lots of business. Three features. Hierarchical authority. It's top down. Someone at the top, someone at the bottom. There's a chain of command. There's job specialization, defined duties. DMV, there's one person that helps with like registration and forms, and there's someone else that helps administer the driving test. There's another person that handles the written test. There are formalized rules, regulations, and procedures written down somehow, somewhere. Sometimes these are pretty complicated, sometimes they're relatively simple, kind of varies. Let's look at this little graphic. Let's go ahead and make this full. So, under the executive office of the president, here's the three main branches under the president and the executive branch. At the White House office, the OMB, Office of Management and Budget, NSC, National Security Council, Council of Economic Advisors, plus 9 more under the office of the president. See the president's seal, the NSA, it's a security group. Then you have cabinet level posts, Department of State, that handles diplomacy, treasury, all things to do with economics, defense, justice. Then you have a few independent agencies as well. The CIA, that does the spying. FTC, Federal Trade Commission, that's trying to make sure there's no monopolies. USPS, I think it's Postal Service. NRC, Nuclear Regulatory Commission, I think. Peace Corps, which on March 1st just celebrated a birthday. Social Security Administration, NASA, plus 143 more. I was talking about ending NASA. Why should you go to space if you can't feed poor people in your country? It's kind of thinking there. Executive Office of the President. The EOP contains, which is the Executive Office of the President. It contains agencies staffed by the president's closest advisors. The White House acts as the nerve center. It's like where everything starts and ends. National Security Council advises the president on concerns for the nation's security. The newest office is that for Homeland Security. It's been created post 9/11, 2001. So it's relatively young. Other important offices include the Office of Management and Budget, which prepares the federal budget. And this is kind of the hierarchy. Let's go ahead and write that in. Again, if you're going ahead, it's not necessary, and it's kind of counterproductive if you miss things. But okay. Oh. Oh, did we miss this one? The president acts as chief ministers for three broad groups: executive office of the president, the cabinet departments, and multiple independent agencies. Let's go ahead and jot this in, and the next one. Oh, well, that's a big deal. I'm supposed to make a copy of this. So let's go ahead and make a copy of this. Even though I didn't do it right away, better late than never. Should we put our names in here? Let's see. Hold on. Which will be our first day back in March? Let's look. So March 28th to me. Okay. Now let's keep going. That's fixed. Okay, let's keep going. Sometimes the notes get off a little bit. You get a little tension. Clean it up. I think it's useful. That's what I'm trying to do. Okay. West Wing. Location where the White House office meets in the White House. There's other parts of the White House where they're doing tours the whole time, but there's business happening in the West Wing. Uh, they advised the National Security Council advised the presidents on concerns for the nation's security. That's like a security agency within the bigger picture. Got Homeland Security. Okay. It's important because it prepares the federal budget. All right. The executive departments in the cabinet. They were not originally in the Constitution. Then executing the laws got more and more complicated. And so he created three positions to advise him: Department of State, Treasury, and War. Each department is headed by a secretary. It's not like there's someone taking notes. No, it's just a title for being underneath the president, assisting president. The Justice Department is not headed by a secretary. They're run by a general. The Attorney General. That's the one that's different. I don't know. Maybe a lawyer didn't want to be a secretary. I don't know what the deal is with that. Uh, the Department of State, and I've seen lawyers be not very kind to their secretaries. It's pretty annoying. Anyway, the Department of State is the oldest uh, cabinet level department, while the Department of Defense is the largest. It has the most employees. The cabinet level positions are appointed by the president with Senate approval. Women and minorities have gradually gained representation at cabinet as cabinet secretaries, but it's been slow. You got Condoleezza Rice; she was Secretary of State. So was Clinton, Hillary Clinton, Eric Holder, Julian Castro, HUD, Housing and Urban Development, to name but a few. You also have the Civil Service. Oh, again. Um, you have a variety of independent regulatory agencies. Let's look at this one, and then we'll go back and fill the notes. A lot of them are independent agencies, and they include the Government Services Administration, Office of Personnel Management, Social Security, NASA, and the EPA. EPA is Environmental Protection Association. NASA, I think it's National Aeronautics and Space Administration. Um, there's a bunch of regulatory agencies. See how this is like alphabet soup, and it gets pretty detailed. Um, Regulatory agencies include the Federal Trade Commission, FTC, Securities and Exchange Commission, which runs the stock market, and the Federal Reserve Board. FTC tries to prevent monopolies or any other illegal business practices from occurring. Government corporations also exist. You have Amtrak, you have the Postal Service, both depicted in the corners here. You have NASA in the middle with the rocket, the space shuttle. Government um, agencies will provide support, staff agency, or perform a task, depending on how it's set up. Let's go ahead and write this in. So, writing in NASA. And the Social Security. Oh, EPA. And write the abbreviation for the SEC. Might want to leave it on caps lock for a second. All right, take it off caps lock. Postal Service. They're a big agency. Sometimes there's lines. Sometimes they're rude. I have not had the best experiences with mailing things every time, but sometimes it's just fine. Sometimes it's not. Maybe that's how life goes, I guess. Okay, so generally agencies provide support or they perform a task. That's the general deal. There became a lot of corruption, a lot of nepotism involved in who got these kind of positions. So the civil service was created to try to make things more meritorious. So 2.7 million workers nationwide work for the government uh, in the civil service. It began as patronage. You get a big, cushy government job by supporting a candidate. Eventually, they wanted to have more competency, so they passed the Pendleton Act in 1883, which laid the foundation for the current merit system, mostly, at least to get in, of hiring and promotions based on exams. You get in, you want to work for the post office, you have to pass an exam. You want to work for NASA, you have to pass an exam. So you have to demonstrate some competency that's specific to the job. The Hatch Act of 1939 and later federal laws limited the extent to which employees can engage in partisan politics. Under the Hatch Act, if you're postal worker, you're not supposed to run around um, pr- trying to support some candidate while you're doing your job. You can do it after work, but not while you're doing your job. This is showing that civil service is trying to be a merit system rather than patronage, giving it to your friends and family. What is bureaucracy and its features? All right, let's go ahead and answer these ones. So, bureaucracy is a large, complex administrative structure, handles the business of an organization. The feature of bureaucracy are hierarchical authority, job specialization, and formal rules. What's the general organization of the bureaucracy? In other words, the three broad groups. The three broad groups of the executive bureaucracy. Notice you have to have it a sentence every time. Are executive office of president, cabinet, and independent agencies. So, civil service began as patronage, but moved Yeah. So put a mask on. We throw a mask on. Where do you want to put it? All right. Go ahead. I'm recording. Sorry. I'm going to keep going. So the civil service began as patronage, but moved to a merit system under the Penalty Act. Okay. For the rest of the period, I want you to go ahead and finish defining these terms on your own. I would suggest using the glossary in the textbook. Hope this helped, and let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.